Hi everyone, I'm Upa and today I'm going to be sharing a personal journey with you guys why I quit engineering after attending MIT, which is the #1 university in the world for engineering, and what I'm doing now. I'm not someone who can easily share my own thoughts and feelings, and this is something I've actually never even told my friends or even my family. I came to this secluded cafe in middle of Kathmandu where no one knows me, so I could maybe more comfortably talk about it, hopefully. This is also not my first time attempting to make a video on this topic. I've made videos, but it didn't feel right, so I deleted them instead of posting them. So hoping this time I will get my thoughts across properly. Recently, I also saw a video from my college friend addressing a similar topic, and that really inspired me to kind of revisit this topic, something that I've been really wanting to talk about. And I hope that by me talking about this, some of you who may be going through something similar might feel some comfort. I hope that you will feel that you are not alone in what you are feeling, and that it's okay to change things when you feel like it's not right. It's been a year and a half since I quit, and I've had a lot more time to reflect, and maybe I feel more ready to share it now than before. So you might be wondering, why is someone who went to MIT leaving engineering? Like, didn't you go into engineering because you liked it? And honestly, that's like a thought that I've had myself before. When I was actually interviewing for MIT, my interviewer, she didn't do engineering after MIT. She didn't even study engineering in college. So I'd always wondered, why would someone go to MIT and not study engineering when it's known for engineering? That was just a thought I had. Looking back, I didn't understand, but now I really do understand and can appreciate it. So let's rewind a little bit back to why I was interested in engineering in first place. So growing up, I was always good at math and science, and I guess I was naturally also interested in that stuff because I don't know, I always liked learning and learning why things work the way it worked. You know, it's just understanding the world in that sense was enjoyable. It was fun. Be like, oh, why does this work this way? This is why. Now I know, you know? And because of that, I liked science and math. And I also did a robotics program in high school. And my dad was also an engineer, and some of my other family members were engineers. So I think that's where some of the influence and like interest probably initially came from. And I picked mechanical engineering because I like the hands-on aspect of building things. Fast forward, I didn't even know MIT until junior year of high school, and people had also told me that I wouldn't get into this school because a lot of other more qualified people than me still didn't get in. So, but surprise, surprise, I got in. I was so happy that I got in. It was also a big deal because as a first generation immigrant, my parents sacrificed a lot of things, leaving Nepal and everything behind. So in a sense, it made this move to US more worth it. I was also happy that I was able to do something that made them proud. And why is this music louder now? During my time studying at MIT, I still really enjoyed learning, and it was a lot of fun, project-based classes. But I don't think this enjoyment of learning and like the building things really translated well into the internships and the workforce. I felt like I never really got the true mechanical engineering internship compared to my peers who worked at Apple or Google or Microsoft or like hardware teams and product development teams. My first internship was at a defense company where I did simple, basic fixture CADing, 3D modeling, and drawing, which I found really boring. My second internship was not even a mechanical engineering internship. It was more like a controls type internship at a manufacturing plant in the automotive industry. and it was more coding stuff for the assembly line than mechanical engineering. I liked it, but it wasn't really what I was looking to get more experience towards, but it was still an interesting experience, but it didn't make me be like, yes, I like this and I want to do this. None of these experiences really wowed me in that sense, and I still felt like I was missing out on experiences compared to my other peers at MIT who were getting to, I don't know, I thought they were just getting to work on more actual like product, consumer product type thing, and I was like, what am I doing? I don't have that kind of experience, and now I'm going to be even more behind. Personally, I also didn't really have a job lined up right after graduating. I didn't want to go back to any of my internships. A lot of my friends already had like return offers from their big name companies, and I was 6 months out. I finally got my first offer after many rounds of interviewing and stuff. And I was looking forward to this role because I thought I would get to do more of the design aspect, so that's why I accepted this role. But it turns out it was more of a sales engineering type role, and I was miserable. I did not like talking on the phone with the clients or getting random messages from the sales team at any time. It was just like the product already existed. There was nothing creative about it. It was just put this model together in the certain format and then make a drawing of it and send it off. This job just gave me more anxiety, and I felt like it was just not a good fit for me. I knew from like the first month of this job that this wasn't for me, but literally 2-3 weeks after I started working that the pandemic happened, so I was fully remote. And at that time, I didn't think it was really a good time to like quit a job and like look for another job because things were crazy. And you know, the general advice that everyone always gives about jobs is like, oh, even if you don't like it, just stick it out for like a year and, you know, just switch afterwards. Like, you should always try to stick to a job for like a year. And to me, that doesn't sit right anymore because a year is a long time. But back then, I was like, yeah, I should probably just like stick it out for like at least a year so it doesn't look bad on my resume, you know, and go for it. And I stayed in that job for like at least 15 months-ish until I was just like, it was like so bad that I was overworking and there was so much anxiety about the job. It was just not a good fit, and I was also like, it was such a brain dead job. Like, I was just like, this was not it for me. I just knew it was not a right fit. And then at this time I was somewhat considering quitting engineering, but I was like, you know what, I felt like I never got a good internship experience for engineering, and I haven't gotten like a good job experience. Maybe it's like the company I'm working for, like maybe I just had like really bad luck. So I decided to give it one last go with this next job. And this was at a startup, so I was pretty excited about that. It was at a new startup and it was stamped off of MIT, so there were a lot more people doing interesting things, and it was a combination of software and hardware product, and I was pretty excited. I was like, oh, this could really be like my chance to like learn and do all the things I haven't gotten the chance to do. And that job had literally so many different things I did. I did everything from concepting, 3D modeling, FE analysis, prototyping, machining, putting things together, research, everything. I literally did everything. It was so much work, but it was also a startup, so there was always constant changing priorities and urgency. Also, I was the only junior engineer at that time when I joined, so I definitely felt like compared to the senior engineer who were able to quickly do stuff in their head, I was slow and I needed to reference back to my formulas, make sure I didn't get the things wrong, right? I understood the stuff, but it just took me longer to do the things that would take them a shorter amount of time, you know? And a lot of time, because I was the junior engineer, a lot of the senior ones were busy. A lot of small tasks that you wouldn't think takes a lot of time, but actually does take some time, gets added to the junior engineer. And I had so much work, and I never felt comfortable saying no to work because I felt for them it was easy, quick task, you know, so I just never felt comfortable bringing up that this was something that would take me a lot more time. to do, and I just always worked extra, so many extra hours. I would go 1 hour earlier, stay until like 8 p.m. and then go home and work again if I could from the computer. If not, I would come in on the weekends to get the parts in on 3D printers, so because it has like 16 hours build time, you know. I want to make sure the parts are there so I could have it for when I need it on Monday when I go to work, you know. So I would always work all these extra hours. You know, I didn't mind working hard. I didn't mind doing all this stuff. I like seeing the progress. I like the company goals. I really like the people I worked with. It was a lot of fun. But it just didn't feel like it was for me and for my natural inclination, you know? And on top of the anxiety that I had already, I got insomnia. So now I had anxiety and insomnia, and I think I lived like that for like a whole year. I don't know how. I also tried studying more of the engineering stuff during this job, but I couldn't get myself into studying more of the injection molding or the manufacturing stuff. I had no interest in it at all. I think at some point along the way, I was like, I don't care about the stupid CAD models. I don't care about the stupid FEA. I don't care how much optimization of this needs to be for this to work. You know what I mean? It was just not something I cared about anymore, to be frankly honest. It didn't excite me anymore. During this time, I was probably like severely burnt out too, but I just kept working. And then at some point, I just wanted to just travel and reset and not do anything. Mostly because everything up till like that point in my life felt like, oh, you do this, and then you go directly to this, and then you go directly to this. There was never a period of time where I could just have for myself, which was why I wanted to really travel and also see my family and friends in Nepal, because I hadn't seen them in such a long time because there was always school, there was always work, you know what I mean? And for holidays, like, you can't just take time and go back because you have limited holiday. So I thought about quitting for like so many months before it actually happened, and that's not even how it happened. I got laid off. So I was thinking about quitting, but I felt like it was never the right time to quit, and I was like, oh, the company is preparing for lunch. I can't just quit because I know how short-staffed it is. I can't do that. But then literally, your employers don't care. I was laid off when I had COVID in mid-July, and yeah, they didn't care about that. They just laid me off during the tech layoffs. And you know what? I wasn't sad about it. I was secretly happy. But the sad part about that, when I was laid off, was that I realized all the hard work that I had done, the work was no longer mine. I was sad about that. Like, why did I put in such work and effort and time just for it to be taken away like that? That was also something very similar I felt on my first job. Why am I working so hard and extra time to meet these customer goals when I'm just making so much extra money for someone else? Like, it's not even like working for me, it's for someone else. Like, why am I working so damn hard for that? Like, I don't know, that's just the thoughts I had. I took my layoff as a sign that yes, I am just going to travel and do whatever I want to do for a whole year. Not gonna listen to what anyone else say about, oh, what about gap year? You're gonna have a hard time finding a job afterwards. I was pretty much already set at that point that I wouldn't want to go back to engineering. So I was okay with it. I was okay with having a gap. So I just did that. I did exactly that. When I look back on my own experience and thoughts, I think some of the main reasons why I'm quitting engineering is because, one, I wanted a more flexible job. I didn't want to be in person always. Like, mechanical engineering needs to be in person. There's other engineering options for in person, but I just don't want to do engineering. So another thing is the stress and anxiety it gave me was not worth it. I'm not saying I don't like working hard and I'm against hard working. I will work hard on something I really want to work hard towards, because I feel like everything requires a certain degree of hard work, right? But I just don't want to be working hard towards whatever that was, you know? Like, it's gone. It wasn't worth it for me. I don't care about engineering product stuff. Like, I don't care about a random product someone's making. How am I gonna make this and make this like the best oh wow, so easy to open. I don't care. Or even this, oh wow, so easy to open. Like the design of this, no, I don't care. Even this iPhone, I don't care how to fit everything in there. Like I literally don't care. I also think it doesn't feel like my natural inclination. That's what I've always felt like, but I didn't really know why. But I recently took like the personality test, and I think I am, what is it, INFP? So I guess that kind of makes more sense. I'm more of a feelings person, not a technical person. I do think technically for some things, but I think my natural inclination and stuff, maybe it doesn't fit the role. I don't know, but that's what it makes me feel like. Another thing is it didn't excite me anymore. Like I said before, I tried to study more of the engineering things I hadn't learned yet, more about the manufacturing stuff, like injection molding, different processes, and every time I would open books and read stuff about it, nothing stuck to my head, and which is surprising because when I was studying engineering and like all the school stuff, everything like I was interested in, it would like stick to me and I like was good at it. But this, I was just like, I don't know, I just think I didn't have any motivation or interest to really like learn it. So yeah, why do it? Along with like the stress and work, like I didn't want to be always working so hard for someone else's vision. I don't know if that means I want to do something on my own or not, but I realize I work so hard, but why am I working so hard for someone else is my thing. Is also, I made that decision when I was 17, 18. I don't think I have to stick with the decision I made that many years ago. Like people change, I've changed, my interests have changed, so I'm just changing things and dropping things as life goes. I did engineering for so long and worked everything in my life basically until like the past 1.5 years ago. Everything in my life was worked towards that. So in a sense, it seems kind of like I worked so hard for this, but now I'm dropping it. But at the same time, it doesn't really like, I don't really want to do that anymore. It's just not me anymore. Whenever I was interviewing for all these jobs and stuff before, people would ask, what do you see yourself in like 5 years, 10 years, blah blah blah, whenever you interview, and I would always give like the generic answer people would have just to get the job. Be like, oh, I want to be like a manager, do this, do that, you know, so you get hired. But I think, but that was like when I was 17, 18, 19, 20. Like I didn't have my own vision, own goals, like success. You know, people used to say define success on your own terms, define this on your own terms, but I didn't know what that meant. And I think now I'm starting to form my own definitions of words like this and more vision for like how I want my own life to be. So I think for me now, like success doesn't mean working in like this field, doing this job. Like I don't need a certain title job anymore. Like I don't care about being seen as an engineer or like something else. I don't know. Everything is just equal, be respectable as long as you have your own way of making money and sustaining your own lifestyle. You don't really matter anymore to me. So in a sense, I think that's where my understanding for, like before I wasn't able to understand why my interviewer for MIT was not doing engineering after MIT. But I think now that I have started to form my own definition of stuff, I can appreciate it more and really understand that sentiment more. Like doing something that you want instead of what someone else or like society has conditioned you to want to view as success, as do something so that you'd be seen as successful, is not something I want to do anymore. That's like the biggest realization I've had in like the past year or so of reflection and thinking. Lastly, I think I want to continue to do something that makes me excited and proud. Yes, I was proud about going to MIT. Yes, I'm proud of like all my studies and all the work I've done so far, but that work is no longer something that excites me. So I'm done with that chapter of my life. So what am I doing now? So it's been a year and a half since I was laid off. I've took that time to just travel, visit countries, visit family, visit friends. And one thing that I was always proud of, I started doing more of when I was at MIT actually, was dancing. So I've been dancing more, and it's something I'm still like excited about and proud about. So I actually came back to Nepal so I could do more dancing here. I don't really have a full future plan of exactly what I'm going to do, but for now I moved to Nepal with my cat so I could dance more, and I plan on staying here for a couple more months so I can get more involved, because last time I was here I couldn't get more involved. Yeah, and it's been fun. Excitingly, I was in a music video. Ooh, my first Nepali music video project. Yeah, so that's what's going on for me. I hope that by me sharing my story, someone else can feel that they're not alone, because I feel like when I was going through that like a year and a half ago, none of my friends were talking about this. They were all doing their, like, everyone seemed really happy with their tech jobs, high paying salary. Like all my friends were also like different major. They were mechanical engineer, they were software engineers doing tech industry work. I always thought I was the only one who felt like I didn't like my job or didn't feel any inclination towards it. But I think after talking to them more recently, I found that there's more similar sentiment among some of my friends. We're all starting to like think more about what we really want, you know, and I hope that this can open more conversations with other people and inspire more people to kind of think for themselves about what they want and not be too influenced by society about what you should be doing. And don't look for external validation when making this kind of choice, because no one is living your life for you. And people might be just sticking to their jobs just to stick to it, you know. You want your life to be fun and exciting, and you know, your job doesn't always have to be boring. Like, yes, you have to, like, I'm not saying quit your job and like don't be responsible, whatever thing, but if it's, you feel like it's not right for you, you shouldn't look at how much time you've invested in it. You should think about, like, instead of looking only in the past, you should look at the future. How can I do something more that makes me more happy in everyday life? You know, one thing about being unemployed and broke is that, you know, I'm okay with it, because right now I'm also able to freely explore different things I want without feeling constrained. I always felt like in society we are structured to go through school, college, and immediately into work. There's no break built in, but I feel like without like a break, then you don't let your mind wander to different possibilities and things, and you never get to really think for yourself about what you really want when you have a lot of external inputs coming in always from like work or whatever, this, that. So I think it's really important to take that perspective into mind and to allow yourself to have some breaks and let your mind wander and really reflect and see if this is what you want to do, or if this is something that the society has subconsciously conditioned us to want. And I will continue to share more of my thoughts, because I read somewhere that to treat your creation as journals, and I'm not really the type of person that likes to share much, if you know from like my vlogs, but I think I want to share more of my own thoughts and perspective, because I've had a lot of time to reflect and think about things in the past year. And this is part one of it. And if you guys want to hear more of my thoughts about a bunch of random stuff, follow along for my journey. I am currently in Nepal dancing away, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah, and I'm excited to see what's next for me, because I don't know yet.